Hi everyone. Today I will going to explain with system components. We have to discuss about system components before we know that what is operating system. An operating system is a system program which acts as an interface between the user and hardware. Next we have to move on system components. A system components, one of the best methods involved in designing a large and complex system is to break the system into smaller individual components, each of which is capable of performing a definite task and develop each component individually. The process helps in proper definition of the inputs, outputs and function to be performed. Each component of an operating system may be understood to perform a definite activity. The different components are there. Those are process management, main memory management, secondary storage device, input output management, file management, protection system, networking. First we have to discuss about process management. The execution of a program or software is most essential activity in a computer. The purpose of a program is understood only when it is executed. Program is a possessive entity. A program does not do anything unless the CPU executes the instruction of the program. Thus, a process can also be thought as a program in the state of execution. Process is an activity entity. For a process to be executed properly, it needs certain resources such as CPU time, memory, files, input-output devices, etc. There are several functions are there. Creation of a process, suspension and resumption of process, allocation of CPU and monitoring execution of a process, providing mechanism for communication of process, providing techniques for handling deadlocks. Those are all functions of process management. A process will be executed in sequential manner. Then we have to go on memory management. In memory management is the most important component of a computer system. Everything that is to be executed should be present in the main memory. The main memory is the only storage device that CPU can address directly. The main memory is to also responsible for quick accessing the data on disk. It has to first boot to main memory. Since the main memory is very costly, we cannot have a large memory. Thus, the limit memory has to be handled efficiently. Keeping several programs in main memory may be method of increasing the CPU utilization and increasing the speed of the computer response. There are several functions are there in main memory. Those are keeping track of the usage of the memory, deciding the address and amount of memory to be allocated, process to which memory is to be allocated, reclaiming the memory after the completion of the process. Next we have to move on secondary storage device. A computer system works with a concept called as storage program, which insists that the program to be executed along with its data should be present in the main memory before it is executed, since the main memory is limited and can hold data only when power supply is available. All the jobs are to be stored in some additional storage devices which is not volatile. There are functions are there in secondary storage device. Management of free space available on the secondary storage, allocation of space for a program or software, scheduling of disks. Next we have to discuss about input output management. Input output management. In input output management, many input and output devices or other preferable devices may be attached to a particular computer system. Each of these devices has its own method of handling data. One of the main aims of the operating system is to hide the specifications of specific hardware devices from the user. This allows the user and concentrate only on the job at hand and not on functional of the device attaches to it. There are several functions are there. in several functions, keeping track of all devices, their allocation and utilization, deciding on efficient methods of allocation and ensuring input-output operations, recalling the input-output device from the process after usage. Next, we have to move on file management. A file is a basic unit of storage of a computer system, and it is used to store logically related information. As defined by its creator, a computer should be able to store data on different types of storage devices. There are number of storage devices which have different characters. And these files are normally organized and stored into directories to ease their use. Directories are used to store related files for easier access. There are functions are there keeping track on the information such as its location, use, status, etc. These collective facilities are often called file system. Maintenance of the file such as its creation and deletion of files. Mapping of files onto secondary storage, providing protection mechanism for file access, providing backup of files and recovery mechanism storing corruption of information. Next, we have to move on protection system. In protection system, protection refers to the mechanism for controlling the access of programs. These are three types of protections. Those are input output protection, memory protection, CPU protection. Memory protection is taken care by memory addressing hardware so that a process executes only within its address space. CPU protection is taken care by timer which automatically reclaims CPU after allocated time is over, and this avoids in holding of a CPU for indefinite amount of time. Input output protection is done by not allowing the user to do their own input output operation, but with help of standard techniques and devices. There are functions input output protection, memory protection and CPU protections are very useful. Each object has a unique name and can be accessed through well-defined set of operations. Next, we have to move on networking. In networking, a distributed system is a collection of processes that do not share memory or a clock. The processes in the system are connected through a communication network, which can be configured in the number of different ways. The network may be fully or parallelly connected. The communication network must consider routing and connections strategies and the problems of connection and security. There are functions, data availability and reliability. Access to a shared resource allows consumption of speed. Distributed systems vary in size and functions. Thank you for your listening.